G'day Internet and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to start looking at this very beaten up Commodore 64. So how about we simply get straight into it and take a look at what we've got to work with. Right, so this is the Commodore 64 that we have to work with. As you can see, it is filthy dirty. The keyboard is disgusting and has God knows what stuck to it, remains of an old sticker. Now, I actually got this from Mark from the Retro channel because God knows he already has plenty, and he was not using it, so I thought I'd have a go at repairing it. So that's the top of it, but if we remove the keyboard, you can already see there is some bits missing. We've got a missing SID and a missing VIC chip, but everything else seems to be there. Now, my original plan was to use a parts board that I've got to repopulate and fix it because we've got missing RAM as well. And then when Mark was dropping this off, I showed him the parts board I was going to use, and it's this one here. Now, this is a KU 1419 4HB 1982 motherboard. And he immediately piped up and went, that's actually a really rare board for a Commodore 64. It was the first one with the 8-pin DIN, so it gave us chroma and luma. And he highly recommended that I actually use the parts from this one to get this one up and running, because I know this one has some faults. So what we're actually going to do is actually pilfer bits from this, put it on this board, and then put all this into the case. So I guess we should start by hooking this board up and see what's going on with it. Right, so here we go. Here's our board. Let's just get this one out of the way. Let's give it some video and some power, which I kind of jammed away somewhere. Here it is. Turn the screen on. And turn it on, and we get a black screen. You may not be able to see it on camera, but you can actually, there's a slightly lit up bit here. So we have a black screen. Now, my repair experience with Commodore 64s pretty much relies on what I've learnt from Adrian Black and Jan Beta, but I am aware that the #1 cause of black screen is the PLA. So let's pinch the PLA out of this board, because it's one of the few chips that are actually in here, and come on, don't be a pain in the ass. There we go. All right, there's the PLA out of that board. Bring this back in. Let's take the PLA out of here that I suspect is dead. Simply drop this one in and see how we go. All right, that's in. Power. Aha! It's alive. But what we don't have is a flashing cursor. Now, again, purely from watching a lot of YouTube, flashing cursor is usually, no cursor is usually a keyboard fault, which usually comes down to one of the CIAs. And from what my research tells me, it's the left-hand CIA that controls the keyboard. So we're going to now turn that off. Remove the CIA, I'll probably remove both of them from this board, but unfortunately they're soldered in, so time to warm up the desoldering gun. Right, one CIA chip. Right, with our CIA chip rescued, let's pop this one out. And drop this one in. Right, it's in. Okay. And we have a flashing cursor. Nice. Well, I want to run some tests on the SID and stuff eventually, but actually, let's do that now, because then I can just concentrate on the cosmetics. Right, let's do that. So I was going to test this, and the K key kind of... Okay, the keyboard basically doesn't work. So I'm actually going to have to now turn my attention to this disgusting keyboard so we can actually then test the rest of the motherboard. So I guess I'm going to have to now start stripping this. God, I hate this job. Well, the insides don't look completely horrendous compared to the outside, but we are still going to have to give this a good scrub and completely disassemble this portion here. So I probably don't need to tell you anything other than, ew, oh, it's caked on. Right, so I'm going to go and put all the keycaps into a bowl of soapy warm water just to let them soak, and then we'll come back and start tackling this. Right, let's start tackling this. I feel like I should start with a rake, but hopefully a brush will do to at least get the big chunks off. Ugh. Right, that's already considerably less bad. Now it's for some Windex and some paper towel. Right, that is now actually something you may want to touch. Okay. Righto, that bit is now sorted. Now, we should probably take a look at all the plungers. And I think the best way is gonna be to give them the old paper rub treatment. So, move them to one side. Let me retrieve a piece of paper. Which is easier said than done. And what we're going to do is simply drag these lightly, about 3 times each, across the bit of paper. And the paper works as a really light abrasive, to clean up the surfaces of the carbon pads. Well, with that all taken care of and the keycaps scrubbed and now sitting outside to dry, I guess we'll just give this a good bath in IPA. Much better. Right, we have our clean deck, we've got clean keycaps, our service plungers and our circuit board. I guess the only thing really left now to do is to put it all back together. Well, I guess it's nice to know I didn't lose any plungers through all of that. Time for some keycaps. We'll start with the spacebar. Right, so we're back to where we were in my time at least, like 3 or 4 hours ago, but we have a working keyboard. Now we can test the rest of the computer. I've got my Pi 1541 plugged in and ready to rock and roll. So let's give it a test, and of course by law there is only one thing we're allowed to test with these days, so thanks Adrian. Right, it seems to work. We have a working SID, it's not doing anything silly, and it's coming through fine. Right, so I've put it all back together. We're going to actually finish up there. The keyboard basically took way longer than I thought it was going to. All I've done to the case so far is simply give it a scrub when I was doing the keycaps, and I've put it all back together. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to go down the RetroBrite route on this machine. It's never going to be much of a looker. And the case as it is already needs a stack of repairs. You saw those standoffs that were snapped and so on and so forth. So I'm going to have to come up with a solution for that. But right now, the computer works, the keyboard's fantastic and is all up to scratch. Future plans for this machine, I think I definitely will throw a Lumafix at it. The video quality out of this is honestly pretty terrible, and the S video is actually worse. So that's one thing I definitely will do. Like I said, I might go down the RetroBriting route. We'll see how that goes. The disk drive and the monitor that I would normally use with this, which is a 1701, are both pretty yellowed as well, so I might just keep them all matching. But for now, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.